Hi guys, happy Monday. Or, I mean, it's Monday. I don't know that we're happy it's Monday. Go ahead and get your math notebooks. Label it at the top with today's date. And last week, what were we doing with fractions that we learned new? Charlie? We were multiplying fractions, and we were multiplying a fraction by a what, Mimi?
Denominator.
Not by a denominator. What kind of number, Mimi? Mason? A fraction by a whole number is what we were starting with. And when we multiply our fractions by a whole number, we multiply what direction? Across, good. What if I have just a whole number, though, of 2? How am I going to multiply across with that whole number of 2, Sophia?
You can make it into a fraction.
I can make any whole number a fraction. How do I make a whole number a fraction, Sophia?
You make it improper by putting the 2.
I put it over
1.
1. Very nice. All right. At the end, we still have to make sure that we simplify. Always, always. So let's practice some more of these together. Ooh, we forgot one thing. Number 1. Something we forgot to review, that word of. Why do I see the word of in this equation? That's not a computation symbol. What am I supposed to do with of? Malia?
Make it into a multiplication symbol.
Yeah, if they say of, it's just meaning that we're going to multiply. Okay? Nothing to get tricked up over. Alright, so let's go ahead and rewrite then. I have 1/4 of, meaning multiply, 96. Now before I can multiply, I need to make that 96 a what, Bradley?
Fraction.
A fraction by putting it over what, Raina?
1.
Very nice. And now am I ready to multiply?
Yes.
What direction am I multiplying, Brad?
Across.
Good, across. Alright, so 1 times 96 is?
96.
4 times 1 is?
4.
Am I done, Aiden?
No.
We know that fraction is,
Improper.
well, that's an improper fraction, and we know that fractions are division. So what's going to be my equation to simplify there, Maverick? Control yourself. Maverick, what's going to be our equation here to simplify? This fraction reads 96 over 4, meaning 96 divided by 4. Ladies and gentlemen, if I'm writing it on the board, you need to be writing it in your math notebook. Not a dry erase board, not a piece of paper. You need to have a math notebook. Mrs. Long and myself are going to be starting taking tallies here on Wednesday if you don't have a math notebook. That is one of your school supply items. We need to have one. All right, what is 96 divided by 4? Can you do that mentally? No, so maybe you guys need to write that out. 96 divided by 4, and you need to do the computation. What's 9 divided by 4?
2.
Bring down your... What's 16 divided by 4?
4.
Is there anything left over?
No.
So what's our final answer?
24.
Make sure you circle it on your paper or rewrite it down below. So it's always easy to find answers. All right, number 2. I want you to do this math problem staying in your seat, but with a partner in your area. Staying in your seat, but with a partner in your area. 45 times 3/9. Your math should be on then. You have stuff all over the ground, sir. You need to clean up. Raise your hand if you're still working. All right, one more minute. You done, Mason? Are you done? You have a question? Okay. All right, this 45, I need to put it over 1. Now I've told you guys, for me, I would have to rewrite this because my fractions don't line up nicely. If you don't mind that it doesn't line up exactly and you are just multiplying across, you kind of have a little angle going there, I leave that up to you. Okay, that's just personal preference. So what is 45 times 3?
135.
No, could you do that mentally?
No.
No, so you had to actually write that down, right? 45 times 3 and solve that. Okay? What's 1 times 9?
9.
Now, how do I simplify this improper fraction?
9 divided by 1. No,
Oh.
135 divided by 9.
135 divided by 9. And what did you get when you did that division?
15.
Very nice. Good. All right. Independently now, I want you doing this one. Number 3. 3/4 of 72. Number 3, independently, 3/4 of 72 in your math notebook. right, let's go ahead and start solving. 3/4 of, what does that of mean? Times. And I am making that 72 into a fraction. And how do I make 72 a fraction? It's a whole number.
Put it over at the bottom.
Put it over 1. So now I have 3/4 times 72 over 1. And we know fractions, we multiply what direction? Across. Does it matter about denominators? No, they do not have to have like denominators. 72 times 3, could you do that in your head? No, you had to actually write that out. And what was 72 times 3? 4 times 1 is?
4.
But now we need to simplify. How do I simplify that improper fraction?
250 divided by 4.
And what do we get here?
56. No, 54.
There you go. Good. All right, number 4. Let's do a little tougher one. Let's do one that's going to have multi-steps to it. So let's do let me find one. Alright, I see parentheses. What does that parentheses mean?
Do it first.
I do it first. And that's because of what? What is that called that tells me I do parentheses first, Alyssa? Order of operations. Do we know just by looking, what's going to be my common denominator? 10. Good. I need to multiply this by 2. So now I have 6/10 minus 3/10. 6 minus 3 is? 3. And then my denominator of 10. I need to bring down the rest of my problem. Times 30. I turn that 30 into a fraction by putting it over
1.
Now, can I multiply across?
Yes.
30 times 3. This should be mental math because I can do 3 times 3 is?
9.
And then add your
0.
10 times 1 is? 10. To simplify, I need to do 90 divided by?
10.
90 divided by 10 is?
9.
10. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I have a video to introduce to you some more, not dividing yet, no, good prediction though. Some more concepts a little further into our multiplying fractions. So pencils down, just being a listener now. Lights please.
You've probably noticed that we've been talking an awful lot about fractions around here lately. Well, now I'm going to tell you something you can do with fractions that's really easy. No, not juggling fractions. Although that is pretty easy for me. I'm talking about something even easier than that. I'm talking about multiplying fractions. Multiplying fractions is super easy. In fact, it's easier than adding fractions, and that's why we're going to learn it first. The reason it's easier is because fractions are really just division problems, and multiplication and division get along much better than addition and division. Now, since fractions are division, that means if I have the problem 1/4 times 2/3, it's the same as the problem 1 divided by 4 times 2 divided by 3. That means I have both multiplication and division in the same problem. And because they get along so well, that means I can just rearrange our problem to look like this. Now it looks like two multiplication problems that are being divided, and it looks just like a fraction. In fact, if we go ahead and do the multiplications, 1 times 2 equals 2, and 4 times 3 equals 12, then we do have a fraction, and it's the answer to our problem. So what does all this mean? Well, it means that to multiply fractions, all you have to do is multiply the top numbers, and then multiply the bottom numbers, and ta-da! There's your answer. As always, let's see an example or two. Let's try this problem. 2/3 times 4/5. Now we could rewrite the problem like we just saw, but that's not necessary as long as we remember the procedure. First, we know our answer is going to be a fraction, so let's go ahead and write a new fraction line for it. Next, we multiply the top numbers. 2 times 4 equals 8, so 8's the top number of our answer. And last, we multiply the bottom numbers. 3 times 5 equals 15, so 15 is the bottom number of our answer. There we have it. 2 over 3 times 4 over 5 equals 8 over 15. See how easy that was? And fun, too. Even funner than video games. Okay, time for another example. Let's try 6 over 11 times 7 over 8. From our multiplication table, we know that 6 times 7 equals 42. So 42 is the top number of our answer. And on the bottom, we have 11 times 8, which is 88. So 6 over 11 times 7 over 8 equals 42 over 88. Oh, now some of you might see that this answer could be simplified, but we'll save simplifying fractions for another video. All right, let's see one last example. Here it is. 1/2 times 4 over 3 times 3 over 5. Wait a minute, this has 3 fractions multiplied together, and the middle one looks like an improper fraction because its top number is bigger than its bottom number. Does our procedure work for this problem too? Yep, all we have to do is multiply all the top numbers together, and then multiply all the bottom numbers together, and we'll have our answer. And this will work no matter how many fractions we have to multiply. So on the top, we have 1 times 4 is 4, and 4 times 3 is 12. And on the bottom, 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 5 is 30. That means our answer is 12 over 30. So there you have it. Multiplying fractions is easy because fractions are just another way of writing division problems. But remember, there's another way to think about fractions. We can also use fractions to represent parts of things, like half a pizza, for instance. But does it make sense to multiply half a pizza by another half? Actually, it does. If you're thinking of fractions as parts of something, then multiplying fractions is really like taking part of another part. For example, here's half a pizza. Now you can see that if I take 1/2 of that half, then I get 1/4 of a pizza. And if we do the multiplication, 1/2 times 1/2, you see that we do get 1/4. So that's why you can think of multiplying fractions as taking part of another part. In fact, sometimes, especially in word or story problems, you'll see multiplying fractions written using the word of instead of times. They may ask, what's 3/4 of 2/3? And now you know they just mean, what's 3/4 times 2/3? So, whether you think of fractions as parts of something or as division problems, the procedure for doing the multiplication is exactly the same. Let's do a quick review of what we've learned. Multiplying fractions is even easier than adding fractions. It's easy because order of operations says that we can do the multiplication before the division. The procedure for multiplying fractions is to multiply the top numbers to get the answer's top number, and multiply the bottom numbers to get the answer's bottom number. If you think of fractions as parts of something, then multiplying a fraction by another fraction is the same as taking a part of a part. And sometimes, especially in word problems, you might see the word of instead of the word times. Even though multiplying fractions is so easy, it's a good idea to practice. So be sure to do the exercises, and I'll see you next time. Learn more at mathantics.com.
All right. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your homework for math is an I Know It math assignment on working with these fractions and multiplying them by whole numbers. Okay? Make sure you show your work. This is not mental math. All right? Go ahead and get started.
What?